Okay, so I have a strategy for you to get almost anything removed off of your personal credit. We're talking about adverse and negative things on your personal credit with a very unorthodox and rare little secret. So my name is Monica Main. I'm a serial entrepreneur and real estate investor. And in 2003, I had to file for personal bankruptcy due to an identity theft situation with my first husband. Little did I know I could have filed a police report, maybe had everything squared away then, but I filed for bankruptcy, which was a huge mistake in my life. And I had to wait 10 years for it to fall off. But I learned a lot as far as rebuilding and fixing credit in ways that I could never even find in books and courses that I tried to learn this from different resources. So I'm here to share with you all that I know about credit rebuilding and fixing, as well as helping you build wealth with credit. And one of the ways of doing it is using a little known secret that I learned called restrictive endorsement. So if you're wondering what is restrictive endorsement, well, this is going to blow your mind, all right? So let me give you an example. Say, for example, you ran up a Capital One credit card and it's been charged off, and now it's with ABC Collection Agency. So the charge off, it was charged off. Capital One, never got the money from you. They probably went after you in court, by the way, because those people are vicious. But ABC Collection Agency now owns the debt because maybe they bought it from Capital One. So now ABC Collection Agency has this negative adverse thing on your credit report owing, on this old Capital One debt. They were the originating debt company was Capital One. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, I tried to do the disputes, because you should always do your disputes with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion first and foremost before you do anything else. So you send a physical mail, USPS priority trackable mail to Experian, Equifax, TransUnion to dispute all the negative adverse things on your credit report. And I have some in the description box. You could find all the resources down below, including my personal credit fixing letters that you can use yourself. And then that way you can send those letters in, as well as a copy of your identification with your current address. If you don't have a current address on your current identification, go get it. Why are you being so lazy? Like, go to the DMV. It takes like literally an hour to go get your updated ID. And then make sure that you include 2 utility bills that have your name and address, your current address, or 2 other bills. It could be a bill for your cell phone and insurance, whatever, if you don't have utility. Utility always trumps everything, by the way. So you want to have those 2 bill copies, as well as a copy of your ID with your current address when you send these dispute letters out. Now, say, for example, you sent the dispute letters out. Maybe you did round 1, and then maybe you waited 30 days and then did round 2. These things are still not falling off your credit. What else can you do? Well, there's something called restrictive endorsement. If you're willing to cough up a little bit of money to do this, then you can do this, and you could do it very effectively. So what is restrictive endorsement? Well, every single state has a requirement on how much time you have to give the creditor in advance to let them know that you're doing this. So let me explain to you kind of what it is, and then I'll explain to you what this whole setup needs to be for you to be able to take advantage of this. So restrictive endorsement means that you are setting in writing a contract with them stating that they're going to take less on the debt. So say, for example, the Capital One debt was $2,500, and with fees and everything else, it ballooned into almost $7,000. Okay. And you're just like, I'm never going to pay that. That's what's on your credit report, by the way, is like maybe $6,800, $6,900. And you're like, I'm not paying that, especially if the original debt was like $2,500. So what you could do is send a letter directly to the creditor or collection agency. So this is after you're done with your rounds with the credit bureau and it's not coming off. You then send a letter directly to the creditor. So say, for example, it's ABC Collection Agency, and you say, listen, this is in reference to account number, blah, 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 that you have on the credit report. And the original creditor is Capital One for the amount of X. I would like to resolve this debt by sending you X amount of dollars, which will then allow me to have this debt completely paid in full and satisfied. Okay. And so what you do is you basically say, I'm about to send you the check. You don't send the check with the letter. You just basically tell them you're about to send the check, right? Now, every state's going to be different on the time frame. Some states it's 14 days, some states it's 30 days, so you have to look it up. So just type in restrictive endorsement North Dakota, or restricted endorsement Florida, whatever it is, and they'll tell you how long you have to wait after you send the letter before you can send the check, okay? Now, mind you, there are 4 four states in which this is not legal. It's New York, Ohio, South Dakota. Whoops, I said South Dakota before. I guess if you are in South Dakota, it's not legal. So New York, Ohio, South Dakota, and West Virginia. If you live in one of those states, it doesn't matter if your creditor or collection agency is in any of the states. That's of no business of yours. It's if you yourself live in New York, Ohio, South Dakota, or West Virginia, this is not legal. You cannot use restrictive endorsement. However, if you live in any of the other states out there, you can do restrictive endorsement. So you first send the creditor the letter as per whatever the state law is, 14 days, 30 days. You make sure the time goes by. Then you send them the check. But wait, do not send them the check yet. You have to do something with the check first before you send them the check. Now, it has to be in the amount that you agreed to. So, for example, if you said they're getting $25, then they're getting $25, right? Maybe you said they're getting $100. So whatever amount you said in the letter is the amount that they're going to be getting on the check. Now, be very clear about what needs to be on the check. It can't just be the amount that you promised in the letter, but you have to flip the check around. You know, the little part that's the endorsement part at the very top? You need to write the following very small but very legibly in that tiny little box. You want them to be able to still endorse it with their stamp, but you need to write the following. With this $250, or fill in the blank, $50 or $100, with this $250, you are agreeing that account number blah, 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 blah is now satisfied in full as per the original creditor, which would be Capital One or whatever it is. So you have to write a little tiny contract in the very top. And I will include the legalese in the description box below, so you can just basically copy that and write that on the check. I would also write that in the memo section as well. So basically, this $250 is paying in full and satisfactory on account number blah, blah, blah with Capital One, or whatever the case, whoever the original creditor is. And that's how I would do it. I've done it many, many times. The stuff falls off, because essentially what happens is even if the creditor themselves do not remove it off your credit, because they will not ever do that. You're going to have some lazy clerk that just stamps, deposits the check, unbeknownst to the fact that this is a contract, and it's a valid contract, as long as you don't live in New York, Ohio, South Dakota, or West Virginia. So please note that you send the check in, they deposit it. Now you have a bank copy. So go online, print out your bank copy of the check, front and back, as clear as possible. And then you want to send that into the 3 credit reporting bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, along with the letter that you had sent 14 to 30 days before that stated that you're about to send them the check. Then you did send them the check, and then they cashed the check. And now, as per the agreement that they clearly agreed to on the back of the check, it now has to fall off your credit. And then they will have to update your credit report, and they'll either do one of two things. Number one, they will remove it altogether as if it didn't exist. More than likely, though, they're going to do number two, which is going to be satisfied as agreed or settled as an agreed account. So it's basically going to see satisfied or settled as agreed. It's still going to show that you've had delinquencies, but guess what? It's going to also show that you have a zero balance and it's paid in full. And that's also really good as well for bolstering and boosting up those FICO points, okay? So if you found that this was incredible information for you and you got something out of it, give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel a lot, as well as subscribe, because I have a lot more videos to bring to you. This is Monica Main signing off, and I will see you in the next video.